Bitcoin is an ideology that spawned a protocol that created an asset that circulates on a network. The ideology is sovereignty, sound money, freedom and property rights, right? Dignity of the human spirit, ownership of your life force, economic sovereignty, and immortality. That's the ideology of Bitcoin. And Satoshi gave us that.
Altcoins come and go, narratives change, but Bitcoin is the truth. The hardest money the world has ever seen. I've thought about it long and hard, about the pros, the cons, dug deep, questioned everything. At the end of the day, you gotta make up your own damn mind. Me, I have conviction. This is freedom. Let's go. I'm a Bitcoin Max.
All right, legends. Let me just do this. Let's go. Right, legends. Bitcoin is breaking out still. Okay. And now the question is, can this breakout continue? What do we need to look out for? Do we still have resistance to the upside? Are we going to break down? Are you in a long? Are you in a short? Are you in a schlong? I don't know. Are you hedging the market over here with your stop above the high? Right, legends, let's analyze the price of Bitcoin here together. And welcome to the live stream. Remember to smash up that like button on your way in. And I will say hi to the community in a moment. But we're just going to take it relaxed, okay? Take a breather. Bitcoin has finally broken out here. It looks like it wants to claim the all-time highs. I will go through a couple of altcoins if you want me to go through altcoins. I do see people are not really interested in their favorite altcoins. I did share some breakouts this morning. I had alarms going off all through the night. I shared it with our Legends Pro community. Some altcoins that's breaking out, especially from a spot perspective. It does look interesting if you can manage your risk well. Okay, legends, let's go. Stefa, I see you. Stefa1. Jack, welcome to the live stream. Mott here in the house. Irina, welcome. Right, feels like I'm in the club. Muhid, welcome, man. Irina, hi, Dewald. It's always great to see you here. Mr. Junior, Dewald and Legend, smash up that like on your way in. Absolutely. Right, let's dive into the technical analysis. Okay, let me take the comment here out the way. Let's keep it simple. Okay, let's start off simple here on the 2-hour time frame. And as the stream progresses, we can go into the most complex trading scenarios, which is Elliott wave theory. Okay, and I will share with you guys some of the trades that I'm in at the moment as well. I've got some swing longs open on some of my favorite altcoins. I bought some altcoins when no one wanted to buy. Okay, I'm still in those swings, and I shared the P&Ls this morning with the Legends Pro community. But I didn't just take the trades and kept quiet and wait until it's in profit and then... No, I told everyone where I was buying. I told everyone, I'm buying, I'm opening up swing trades right now. I'm going to show you guys, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. Also, down in the description, they've got this Bluffin competition running at the moment, right? If here is where you register for the Bluffin competition, the WOW competition, okay? I want us to grab some of that money. So the second link down here, if you're not part of the team, go and register, guys. Let's trade together. Let's swing some volume. It's not just the highest P&L that wins prizes. You can also spin the wheel, okay, to win daily prizes. Move the most amount of volume. There's lots of categories in which you can grab some of the juicy prizes, up to $4.2 million, if I'm not mistaken. $4.2 million and a Cybertruck up for grabs, right? And let me see, where are we at the moment? We are ranked number 24 in the world. Right, currently number 24 in the world, so not bad, really not bad. Okay, I just want to see, where am I ranked? Woo. Okay, personally, I'm number 337 from a volume perspective. Okay, I'm really trying to move volume over here, but I've only moved, it looks like 1.3 million worth in volume. Right, and let's go, Legends, but this is the link where you register. This is where you sign up for Bluffin. Okay, you get 20% on top of the money that you deposit in your features account to trade with for Mahala. Right, and then if you don't like Bluffin, maybe, something about Bluffin you don't like, I've got weeks, 20% also on top of the money that you deposit in your features account, 25% discount on your trading fees. And what are you waiting for? Okay, also your way to support the channel. It costs you nothing extra. Right, and you will benefit from future competitions that we run here exclusively for the Bitcoin Census team. Okay, now, just guys, I need to see if I can crank this up. We need to crank this up. Come on, guys, we need to crank this up. 24 is good. I'm not going to lie, 24 is good, but imagine the top 5. Oh, top 10 even, okay? If we can get there. So I'm trading like a crazy maniac, and as you can see, I am currently in a short. I am in a short, yeah, on Bluffin, right? A nice little short here to the downside. Also a nice little short to hedge against my swing longs that I've got open. Okay, so currently in a short, and I will explain why I entered my short, where I entered the short, why I entered the short. Also just hedging against my long positions that I've got open from a swing trading perspective. Right, so Legends, let's start with the technical analysis. Oh, Crypto Princess, welcome here to the stream. Great to see you. Dewald, there's your comment. Much love. Thanks for joining the stream. Appreciate everyone for sharing the love, smashing the like button, and continuous support over here. So welcome, Mrs. Crypto Princess. Welcome to the live stream. I really enjoyed the interview that you did with Andy. And with Koons. I saw you did an interview with Koons and with Andy. Really enjoyed those interviews. So guys, go and check out Crypto Princess's channel if you haven't done so already. She does these interviews with crypto influencers. Very interesting to hear the stories of where the people started, how did they make their money, how did they struggle with trading, some trading tips that they give inside of those videos. So go check out her channel if you haven't done so already. Okay, so Legends, let's keep it simple. I'm here on the 2-hour time frame looking at Bitcoin. And, I'm going to say something that I have often said many times before. And we have often seen how that plays out many times before. For bullish momentum to continue from a trend line perspective, okay, I'm just applying trend line rules over here. From a trend line perspective, you want price to remain above the trend. It needs to remain above the trend. It is fine if it consolidates and chops sideways on top of the trend. That is perfectly fine if it does that and it wants to continue sideways, but as long as it stays above the trend, that is a bullish sign. And the more high time frame candles you can close above the trend, that is a bullish sign for upwards continuation. Okay, it's as simple as that, right? Because this is what you look out for. I imagine this is the 15-minute time frame. If this was the 15-minute time frame, you already have a couple of 15-minute candles above the trend. That is usually where I enter along, and I will put my stop below this little low over here. Okay, because from a risk to reward perspective, you usually want to take profits at the highs. And I know the market makers love to do these little trend lines where no one wants to play the breakout because the risk to reward doesn't make sense. Okay, unless you are targeting higher levels. So if I had to play this trade on the 15-minute time frame, I would have done the following. I would have planned my trade with my long tool. So let's say I played the breakout over there. Okay, and my stop needs to go below the low. And I'm going to look at my risk to reward and I'm going to say it's not worth the trade for me. Unless you can and you are able to take it a step further. So this is the beauty about trend line strategy, but also some of the downfalls if you don't take your trading knowledge to the next level. Okay, so from a trend line perspective, I would not take the trade because the risk to reward doesn't make sense. Because that's how the strategy works. You play the breakout, you take profits at the highs. Your stop goes below the recent low. In actual fact, it should actually go below this low. But you know, then there's guys, you cannot lose this much to only make this little bit. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, so from a trend line perspective, and if that is the only trading strategy that I know, I will not take the trade. I don't care if price is above the trend. Right, because the risk to reward doesn't make sense. But if you can take your trading knowledge to the next level, this is where it becomes powerful. Okay, because I can look at a structure and say, well, is this a 5-wave structure or is this a 3-wave structure? Because if this is a 5-wave structure, I know that there's a potential for continuation here to the upside where I can have a higher profit taking area. Then maybe the risk to reward will be worth it. So what I will typically do is I will say, okay, well, this does look, okay, let me just put this back. This does look like a 5-wave structure. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, B, C. Okay, so this looks like a 5-wave structure, which means that this can continue past the highs. Okay, then what I will do is take it another step further and say, well, okay, from a trend-based perspective, I'll take a trend-based fib from the low to the high of the structure, to the low of the structure, reverse it to the upside. Now this becomes interesting. Okay, if this is a 1, oops, did I grab now the wrong tool over here? Let's go and grab Mr. Elliott wave over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now you can see, well, now this becomes interesting. Now this becomes interesting because the potential for a third wave is all the way to $121,000. You can play it a little bit conservatively because this can turn into a 3-wave structure where you have a 5, 3, 5, and they usually reject at the 1-to-1 extension. So if you want to get out before the police comes, you could say, okay, well, I'm going to take profits at the 1-to-1 extension. Does the trade now make sense? Now you have a 1.74 risk to reward. Okay, my minimum trading requirement is a 2 risk to reward. Okay, so for me, if this is not a high chance, a high probability, I'm not taking the trade. unless I got in at lower levels. Maybe I got in over there, so it can drag my risk to reward down, and then you just hold on, okay, because you're already inside of the trade. But if I'm making a trading decision over here, I cannot explain to you guys how important the risk to reward for me is from a day trading perspective, swing trading perspective. I'm not talking about investments, guys. Don't mix those up. Okay, because there's a chance, okay, that it's going to go to $121,000, right? But it's now all dependent on how this structure is going to form. It all depends on how this structure is going to form. Is this a 5-wave structure where this is a 1, 2, and this is now your first wave inside of your third wave, where you now form a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3-wave corrective structure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this, ladies and gentlemen, is the most bullish case scenario that I have on the table right now. Okay, so if you want to take a chance on this trade, right, you need to decide, well, do you believe that this can be a third wave where only then the risk to reward makes sense? Because I can tell you guys now that if this is going to form a 3-wave structure, okay, to the upside, in a 5-3-5, you basically form 5 waves here, okay, 5 waves here, you form 3 waves, so this is your 5, this is your 3, and you form another 5 waves to the upside, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, it rejects at the 1-to-1 extension, and it falls back down. Right, so it's never easy in trading, okay? It's never easy in trading. This is why I always say I like to take profits to the upside. Because if I was planning this trade and I said, well, I think it has a chance to hit $121,000, I will still take profits at the 618. More profits at the 786. Okay, more profits at the 1-to-1 extension, because I don't know how the structure is going. I don't have a crystal ball, but I know based on this, there's a chance that price could move higher. Okay, and even surpass the highs. Right. So guys, you need to decide how you want to play this, right? But if this was, just to put it into perspective, if this was the 15-minute time frame, I don't know if I would have taken this trade unless, okay, I got an entry there or I got an entry over here. Then it's, you just leave your moon bag open for higher levels, right? And if you see the weakness below the trend, you cash out. You say, okay, well, I've had enough. I still in profits. I'm just going to cash out. Or you could have a different rule that says, well, I'm going to stay in the trade, okay, as long as the price is above the trend. So there's a couple of rules that you can apply over here. If price dips below the trend, I will exit the position. I'm not going to wait for my stop loss to get hit. Okay. And then you need to go and back test it, because I also know that, you need to put your stop loss where you're supposed to put your stop loss for a very good reason. Because often what happens is price dips below, it leaves a wick behind, and then it continues. It just stops out all the people that longed in this zone with very tight stop losses. How often have you entered a trade, you have a tight stop loss, price should not come back below the trend, it stops you out and it leaves without you. And then I'm going to be on the stream to say that, well, if you left your stop loss where you're supposed to leave your stop loss, according to the rules of the strategy, you would still be inside of the trade. So I'm just throwing you guys with knowledge in terms of how you can plan and play this trade. If the trade does not make sense from a risk to reward, don't take the trade. Remember, guys, these are day trades. Swing trades. You get in, you get out. Okay, because I think there's still a lot of people that confuse investment with swing trades with day trades. Okay, there's a big difference between those three. If you're a day trader, the meaning is in the name. You typically get in and out of a trade during the single day. You don't care where price is going to be tomorrow. I have seen very successful day traders, and I think Koens is one of those that do it as well. I also like to do it, but for the purposes of the YouTube live stream, I leave the prices on the left-hand side, or here on the right-hand side, and the dates. But when I used to trade by myself before I had the YouTube channel, I hide the prices. You can't see the price because I don't need to know where the price is. I don't need to know the dates. All I need is this. I just need to see the price action. I play up, I play down. Risk to reward doesn't make sense. I wait for the next trade. Patience is key inside of this game. Okay. Right, legends, I hope you guys are enjoying the education and the alpha over here. I cannot help but to share some education and alpha. Mr. Mark Dutch in the house, welcome, subscribe, smash the like button, it's free. Touch, no KYC, the additional tariffs yet. Mr. Dutchy, Mark Dutch, welcome to the live stream. Always appreciate the mods here. Supporting me while I'm live. Let's go, legends. The alpha, yes, smash the like button. That's how we do it, right? Elizabeth, I haven't seen you in a while, but I do see you make comments often after the live stream, so appreciate you. Okay, I agree, Dewald. I use Tinder for day trades, sometimes turn out weekend trades. Woo, right, legends, let's continue. Okay, so that's basically what I wanted to say over here, right, legends? I wanted to talk about the technical analysis and then I dived into the education. But this is what my channel is about. It's about education, okay? Oh, I can't wait for my trading course. Guys, I cannot wait for my trading course. And I'm sure you guys can't wait for the trading course either. Right, it's going to be absolutely powerful, but I don't want to spill beans just as yet, but I've got something awesome planned with the trading course. Right, legends, so let's carry on with the technical analysis. As long as price is above the trend, and the more high time frame candles we close above, the better. So, you know, and when I talk about high time frame candles, I mean, the higher the time frame, the more powerful. So when someone asks me, how high time? Do you look for 4 hours? Do you look for 8? All I'm going to tell you, the higher, the better. If you can get daily closes above, especially a weekly close above, beautiful. The higher the time frame that you can get close above the trend, the better for the probabilities for price to move in that direction. From a day trading perspective, okay, but you know, it doesn't apply to large ranges like this. But when I trade, my favorite time frame to day trade is the 15-minute and the 1 hour time frame. These are my favorite time frames to day trade because the 15-minute and the 1 hour allows me usually to get in and out of a trade in a single day. Right. So on the 15-minute time frame, I mean, look at this beautiful break of trend. Okay, so if I played this breakout, now look at how I planned this trade. Okay, now that was a way better breakout. You broke out of a major trend, and that's the analysis that I would have done on the larger time frames. Okay, we broke out from a major trend. Okay, I often talk about this. These little bullish pennants after you have a breakout, I often speak about these little bullish pennants. So if I had to trade this little breakout, now look at how, okay, first thing I do, I don't just jump into the trade, guy. When my alarm goes off and there's devil jumping, no. You plan your trade, okay? This is where I want to enter, okay, or am going to enter. I need to take profits at the highs. At least my stop loss goes below the recent low, okay? Now, look at that. 2.3 risk to reward. That is my minimum requirement for entering a trade. Now, this is a trade worth taking for me from a day trading perspective. Beautiful. You enter, stop goes below the low, you close, or, you know, you take 90% or 80% profits depending on what your rules are, and you leave a moon bag open for higher levels. Okay, it's as simple as that, right? But here's a successful trade in the bag. You get in, you get out. You wait for the next trading setup. You wait for the next trend. Okay. Not really a trend forming here at the moment, because sometimes, you know, when you only know one strategy, okay, and I do know a couple of very successful traders that only uses the D-line strategy. Okay, I adapted the D-line strategy because, whole long story, I will tell you guys one day about it, okay? But the pro members know why it's called the D-line strategy, right? But you're going to have to wait for trends to form, and you're going to sit on your hands until a trend forms. The beauty about mastering one strategy is you don't have to know Elliott wave theory. You don't have to know Fibonacci's. You don't have to know fucking anything. You just apply your strategy, but you're going to have to be patient. Okay, because once you now play this breakout, you can't trade this because there's no trend. Okay, especially if you're following your rules to say, I trade the 15-minute and 1 hour. On the 15-minute and 1 hour, there's no trend. I'm not trading. I want to see this. I want to see multiple touches. I want an A+ trend. I don't want a B trend or a C trend in these little things that just falls here to the downside. Okay, now, by the way, this was a beautiful trade. For those of you that did take it, well done. Right, because I see them all over. Okay, if I look at theta over here, look at this. Right, I see them everywhere, guys. You break a major trend and it forms that bullish pennant, and that's usually where I like to play the breakouts, because it holds the trend. Okay, it forms the bullish pennant. If it wants to fall, let it fall. Okay, but if it breaks above, then you have a more confirmed trade, right? And this is one of the trades that I highlighted inside of our Legends Pro community, currently in some nice profits here to the upside. Right, GRT, same thing. Okay, it breaks a major trend. Can you guys see? Going through multiple tokens, same strategy. You break out, you form a bullish pennant. I track the momentum. You break out, off to the races you go. That was my entry. Okay, I already took some profits here by the highs. That's just how I roll. Theta, also a trade that I highlight. Oh, I've already spoken about theta. Okay, Litecoin, not the same scenario, but you guys get the point that I'm trying to highlight over here. Okay, D for Dewald line. Yes, it's exactly, okay, it's exactly. You just play the momentum either to the upside or to the downside. You can use it and in reverse as well, right? Let's see if there's an example. Let's see if there can like to be an example over here. Right, you can play them to the downside as well. Okay, you lose it to the downside, boom, stop goes above the high. You play it to the downside. If you don't know how to play this to the downside, because for some reason our brains are wired to look for green, to look for up. Okay, and if you're struggling to play down, you know what you can do. Okay, you can do this. If the market is in a strong downtrend, do this. Okay, you still play the breakouts. Okay, look at this, right? You still play the breakouts. Look at this. Okay, there's another one. Right, you still play the breakouts, but you just need to click on the right button on the exchange. Okay, you're not buying, you're selling, right? You're playing shorts here. Right, so let me undo this, flip the chart back. Come on, flip back. Let's do this. Right, so just a tip of the trade, and this is how I used to short. Okay, because I had to teach my brain to short, because when I started trading, it was so easy, and I kept on asking myself the question, why is it so easy to trade to the upside? Why is it always so difficult to short? Why am I struggling with shorts? So when I kept my journal and I used to take stock of my trades, and most of my winning trades was longs and most of my losing trades was shorts. And I also played smaller position but there was many reasons, but basically I identified that I'm struggling with shorting through my journal that I kept. And then I started reversing the charts. I started doing this. And then all of a sudden my shorts and my longs, I just made money, both sides, right? Longs and shorts doesn't really matter. Okay. And those days, this was the only strategy that I used, okay, together with trend-based fibs. There's a phase that I went through where I only traded Fibonacci's as well. Like, guys, and I think that's the thing that I really think a lot of traders struggle with, is that you have to master a strategy. Okay, so if it's the D-line strategy, do not for 1 second think that the D-line strategy cannot make you a profitable trader. If you are not a profitable trader using a strategy, okay, you have not built in rules, you're not trading according to a plan, and you're not being consistent, and you have not mastered that strategy. Okay, 10 out of 10 times, it's not the strategy that's the problem. It's the person behind the strategy, because you will find another person uses the exact same strategy, but they make money. Why? Okay. And a lot of people, what they do is, especially when they start out, is they jump from strategy to strategy to strategy, thinking that the strategy is the problem. So you are jumping between strategies, but you're not mastering any of them. Okay, so, and I think the one thing that I did well is that I stuck to the D-line strategy until I mastered it. I was like, okay, that's how you spot the fake out. This is what you do when that happens. Okay, 3-wave structure, 5-wave structure, profit-taking area, 1-to-1 extension. I literally mastered the strategy where I turned it profitable and I was making profits on that strategy. Then I went on to another strategy. And another strategy, but I did not stop with a strategy until I've mastered it. The last strategy I knew, the last strategy that I wanted to tackle was Elliott wave theory. So I didn't stop at D-line strategy. I think I went from D-line strategy, I went to Fibonacci trading, then I went to trend-based extension trading, then I went to swing failure patterns. And then lastly, when I mastered all of those trading strategies, harmonics, volume strategy, which is not one of my favorites, but a very easy strategy to trade. Okay, range lows, range highs was also one of my strategies. But I always knew that my last strategy is going to be Elliott wave theory because it's the most difficult. A lot of people saying Elliott wave theory is BS. Well, I don't blame them because it's very difficult. It's not the strategy that's BS. It's it's the person that's not willing to put in the time to master that strategy. Right. Whew, I feel like I've said a lot. BTC, no, read it, Dewald. Don't read it out loud. What must I not read out loud? Okay, I'm reading softly, guys. I'm reading softly. I'm just gonna keep on with the technical analysis. Right, legends. Now, let's dive into more technical analysis over here. So, as long as price stays above the trend from a trend line perspective, well, we could still expect some upwards momentum. If I take the trend here out the way, okay, let's just take the noise out. Let's go back here onto the 1 hour time frame. We still have areas. Let's just keep it simple. We still have some areas of resistance to the upside. This little short that I am in, I don't mind getting stopped out of this short. This is a hedge short against my swing positions that I've got open. I really don't mind getting stopped out of this short. I already took 15% profits and my position is protected. So, right, but you just don't know what the price is going to do, because when I start switching on some levels, okay, where is my point of controls, daily levels, weekly levels, let's just get them all in here, right? You can see where price got the rejection just now at the daily level. So this morning we had a rejection at the daily level, and now we got rejected here again. This is where I entered my short. This is where I entered this short. I saw the rejection at the daily level. Okay, this is where I entered the short. Right. Price did not close, and this is something that I highlighted inside of Andy's live stream as well. I said, if price does not close a 15-minute candle above, I'm going to short. So on the 15-minute time frame, which is my favorite time frame to trade, you can see no bodies was closed above. It only left wicks behind. And when this candle closed below the daily level, this is where I entered and I put my stop above the high. Price fell down, it hit an area of support, and I took 15% profits over here. My position is protected. If I get stopped out, I will still get stopped out with 15% profits. But if price falls to the downside, okay, it's my hedge against my swing trades that I've got open at the moment. So as the swing trades falls to the downside, this short will just, put the money back for me. So I'm just managing my account at the moment. Right. Cool. So legends, still to the upside. If price wants to continue, we have another naked point of control at $111,000. Let's just make it a round number. That point of control, okay, I'm keeping the analysis still simple over here, comes from this little consolidation area. Okay, this little consolidation area has a point of control where the most amount of volume was traded. I just want to see something inside of this zone. Okay, just want to see something. Let's go and draw it out here quickly. I want to go to the 1 hour. And you will see now why I want to draw it out, because I'm specifically looking for something. Yeah, as I expected. And I think maybe that's the reason, because I was wondering, I deleted that level and I was wondering, why did I delete this point of control? Okay, the reason. So I'm leaving it there for now because I just want to see how it's going to react at this level. But the reason I deleted this point of control is, look at the volume, how scattered it is. You have high volume nodes everywhere. Okay, everywhere. And when you have all these high volume nodes everywhere, that's almost a straight line, usually the point of control does not serve a purpose. And this is why I left the daily. Okay, because dailies are powerful levels, right? And I think this is the reason I deleted the point of control, but you never know, so I put it back. Let's see. Okay, usually what I like to see is a high volume node where the point of control is. Those point of controls are very powerful. So I always look at the volume inside of this consolidation, and if the volume is flat or similar, you will often find that when you tap the point of control, it does nothing. Just slices through the level. Okay, so there's some more education. Remember to smash up the like button. Okay, right, but we have it there just to show everyone where I do get that level from. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about this structure in a second, legends. Okay, so obviously the last line in the sand is a daily level, which in my opinion is better than this point of control at $111,000, 662, and it might be different depending on which exchange you use to do your technical analysis on. But here on the Binance perpetual chart, that's where the level is. Okay. And if you don't know how to get a daily level, you go into the daily time frame, and it's usually at the open and the close. That's where you get your daily from. Open and close at exactly the same level, untapped by price action. So usually, okay, look at that. Well, that's now a new fresh one that formed over there. I'm just trying to find an example. Anyways, right there you had a daily level, you got a rejection, fell to the downside. Anyways, just to show you guys how I get the daily level. So let's get back here onto the 1 hour time frame. Okay. Very choppy in this range. So let's take the levels out the way. So legends, the most bullish case scenario, looking at this structure, okay, if this is the low, okay, we do have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave structure. We have a beautiful 5-wave structure, and we have a beautiful 3-wave structure. In an ABC, WXY, doesn't really matter, it's a 3-wave structure. So this could be wave 1, this could be wave 2, and this is now building that wave 3 here to the upside, like I've explained during the beginning of the live stream. In a bearish case scenario, what you could form to the upside, okay, is a 535, which is a corrective structure. Litecoin Moonbag. Yes, I do have Litecoin. I do have a nice this is my swing trade on Litecoin. Okay, and I know some people send me messages say, Dewald, how dare you show Litecoin to the community? It's a dinosaur token, it's not going to do anything. Well, I sold all my XRP and I bought back when I saw something from a technical perspective, and now I'm in Litecoin because I'm seeing the exact same movie on Litecoin. So I'm currently here in a swing trade, 3x leverage on Bluffin, swing trade entry at $80. 8 right somewhere here is my entry, okay, and my position is protected. So if I get stopped out, I will look for an entry lower down. But it's nice to be in a free trade. I can breathe. I don't have to play this breakout over here. Okay, so now let's get back into this little structure. So a 535, you can have a 5-wave structure. Okay, you can have a 3-wave corrective structure. Let's just call it a WXY because it does look more like a WXY. And you can have another 5-wave structure to the upside. And this could be it. This could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Done. You formed a 5, 3, 5, and you fall back down. It literally could be done over here because you already have a 5-wave structure. And corrective structures, guess what, are 5, 3, 5s. But there's one problem. For the 5-wave to be done over here, there's a problem. Thank goodness, okay? Because it means that price could still continue to the upside. So it could mean that you have a 5-wave structure, but you're going to make a proper 5-wave structure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here to the upside. So you then have a 5, 3, 5. You grab the liquidity above the highs and then you fall back down again. Okay, so that is an option. And why I am saying that higher probabilities seems more likely at the moment is because of time. Because when you have a 5, 3, 5 that ends over here, and I take a trend-based fib and I measure where did this 535 start. It ended over there. I put it on this one over here. Oh, it actually has a chance now that I look at it. Okay, this high, these highs were made after the minimum requirement. Okay, I thought it made it before the minimum requirement. But this wave, okay, and this wave needs to have at least finish after the 0.382. If it finished here by the 1-to-1 extension, then you have a perfect 1-to-1 ratio. Okay, you have a 5, 3, 5, it falls back down. So guys, there's a chance that price could reject here and fall down because these highs were made after the 0.382. I thought it was before. Then I would have said, okay, it needs to still go a little bit higher. But now that I'm looking at this over here, there's a chance it's valid. It's valid from a timing perspective. Price can fall from here because these highs were made after the 0.382. Okay. And that is a 535 corrective structure, basically. Right? So let me take this out the way. Yeah, guys, there was something that I was toying with, okay? So all I want to say is there's a chance that this could be the high. There's a chance, okay? That trend line that we spoke about, what you then want to see from a bearish perspective is you want price to start breaking the trend to the downside. You want to start seeing weakness, and you want some high time frame candles to close below the trend. Because if it dips below and it leaves a wick behind on the larger time frames, that's bullish. Okay, but if it dips below and it starts consolidating and trading below the trend, that's bearish. Okay, I'm trying to keep it very simple over here, guys. And I know I'm going 5, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ABC, WXY. What is Dewald doing? Is he trying to teach us our ABCs? Okay, right, legends. So there's a chance that this could be the high because you could have a 5, 3, 5. Now, also from a Fibonacci perspective, we can go and measure the target. So let's see if the target makes sense. You take your trend-based fib, second option, from the low to the high of the structure to the low. Okay, usually now this is now a sign of hopium here again. Usually the minimum target for a corrective structure is the 0.618. So there's a chance that we could still go to, yeah, there's a chance. I want to see where's that daily level. Very interesting. So there's a chance that we could still move up here and reject and hit one of these targets. It would be very strange, okay, based on this fib pool, it would be very strange to not at least tap one of these levels. If price wants to fall down, I would say it's not time yet. Well, price action is not high enough yet. Okay, I see my face disappeared. I apologize, legends. Let me see if I can bring it back. Just give me a second, legends. Let me do this. Right. Put some music on. Just give me 5 seconds or 30 seconds. Right, there we go, legends, there we go. Sorry, apologies about that. Okay, there we go, legends. So, now that do you guys see how much time I spend on structures? It's not just about entering a trade, closing your eyes and hoping for the best. It's not how I trade, guys. This is the amount of work that I put into structures to see, well, what does it look like from a timing perspective? What does it look like from a level perspective? Okay, what does the structure look like? Is it a 5-wave structure? I do see a 3-wave structure. We can go to $121,000. Is the timing right? Are we going to stay above the trend? Is it worth taking this trade? I work out my risk. You guys can see it takes a lot of work. It's a full-time job to be a full-time trader. Okay, you have to put in the work, guys. You have to analyze the structure. Right, so for now, I would say now this zone looks really interesting. Okay, if price wants to fall down, okay, now this is a very interesting zone based on this. Based on this structure, this becomes an interesting zone. Because if Bitcoin wants to create a fake out, this is where it needs to do it, at least at the 0.618. It would be a little bit strange for price to turn around here and fall. Maybe there's something that I'm not seeing, okay? Well, I am in a short, right? I don't care. If it falls, it must fall. I'm going to make profit, right? But if I get stopped, this is definitely an area where I'm going to be paying attention to. Okay, exactly like what happened over here. I will be paying attention to that daily level 0.618 to the upside. It is a very shallow target. It must be said that the 0.618 is a very shallow target and it's not a common target. Most commonly, okay, that's where you're looking at. Okay. Right. Now, there's a couple of scenarios I want to go and check out on the larger time frames, okay? So let's go here to the 2-hour time frame. Let's take the trends out the way. Now, I want to look at this structure, okay? And I want to go through a couple of scenarios. Not that one. Right, yeah. Can this scenario still be in play? Okay, this is a scenario that we've been talking about for long. 3-wave structure in W, 3-wave structure, okay, in X, A, B, C, 5-wave in A or a WXY. It does count better as a WXY in an A, 3-wave structure in a B, and now a C wave in a 5-wave move to the upside to complete your X, and now we're waiting for Y to still fall to the downside. Now the question is this B still valid? And I have a suspicion that this B got invalidated. So there's a chance that I can delete the scenario. Okay, so now, if I zoom in here, this B, this is the targets I spoke about yesterday in my stream. And we actually got a nice reaction at one of the targets, but we sliced back up, okay? You take your trend base from the start of A to the bottom of A, and you reverse it to the upside. Now, look at where price got the rejection. Okay? look at where price got the rejection. Can you guys see there? What a beautiful rejection. 1.618, also in confluence with that daily level. Okay, but this is now the big but. It is very uncommon for a B wave to reject at the 1.618. It's not an invalidation, but it's rare, very rare. Ideally, you wanted the B wave to reject over there, and that is the short that I also took last night. Okay, together with the Legend Pro community. I took the short, price fell to the downside, I protected my position, and I got stopped out. Don't care, it's a free trade, okay? Guys are going to have multiple attempts and get stopped out of break even, right? If you're wrong, you lose nothing. If you're right, you make money. It's as simple as that. You just need to know how to get into those trades, right? And protect your position. Like this one, I'm in a short at the moment. But now to have an aggressive move to the downside in a C wave seems unlikely, or it's carrying lower probability. So there's a chance that this WXY is invalidated because of this. It went too high. And now this is something that I want to try and figure out now together with you. Well, is there another scenario where we can reject and still come down this low, or even claim this low? Guys, it is my job, okay, as a technical trader to look for bearish case scenarios. I can't just be one-sided. I have to consider the bullish and the bearish case scenario. And my job is to figure out, well, is there a chance that we can still reject here and fall to the downside and even claim this low? I have to figure it out, okay? Because I can't just be, oh, it got invalidated, fucking 100x long entire account, here we go, right? It's not how I trade, guys. I need to look for that bearish case scenario. So one other bearish case scenario was this one. Okay. So let's take this out the way. I was playing around with it, but it still doesn't make sense to me. Okay. I did see that some Elliotticians are putting the A wave under here. Okay. I'm going to show you guys why I don't like it, but let's try and figure this out together. Because this morning I was playing around with this little structure and I was like, and I didn't finish playing around with this little structure. Okay, so now the question is, if your A wave ended over here, you have to form a 3-wave structure for a B wave. It's not allowed to be a 5-wave structure. So it needs to be a 3-wave structure. So let me take this out the way. Okay, let's do this. Which means we come back to that scenario that I've just highlighted. What if this is going to turn out to be a 5, 3, 5? Okay, and then it falls down. Now that makes sense. This scenario is still on the table. Okay, let's drag the box. So, based on this scenario, to get these targets, okay, just to show everyone, to get these targets, you take your trend-based fib from the high to the low, you reverse it to the upside, and then you get your B flat targets. So these two levels, yeah, the 1.236 and the 1.382, very, very, very interesting. This is where I'm going to be paying attention. Because this can turn out to be a 3-wave structure, and then we go down for a C wave. So guys, ladies and gentlemen, we still have a bearish case scenario where you basically swing the highs. Price struggles, it looks like it wants to go, and it gets acceptance back below the highs, and you fall down in an aggressive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 C wave structure to the downside, and then, and only then, does the bull market continue. So there is still a chance for this leg over here. So most bullish case scenario, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bearish case scenario, you reject at 100, maximum $114,000, $115,000, and you get acceptance back above, below the high. Okay. Right, so guys, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. I know that there's a lot of hype in the air. I see people are excited. Bitcoin is breaking out. Finally, we're getting some upwards momentum, you know, and now here's Dewald showing you, oh, for heaven's sakes. Okay, right, so it's just an area for me to pay attention. Okay, it's just an area for me to pay attention. If you hit the 1.618, this scenario gets invalidated. Then we're looking for higher. Then the bull market is going to continue. So what I also want to figure out now here, guys, is that if this is going to form a three-wave structure, so from the low to the high to the low, I want to see if these levels have confluence with those bigger levels to the upside. Very interesting. Okay, so you do have the 786, okay, more or less in confluence with a 1.236. And remember what I said, the 786 is way more common than the 0.618. And then you have the 1-to-1 extension, okay, but it does not tap the one, so it does not tap the invalidation for the B wave. So you can reject yeah, you can reject yeah, you can reject yeah, okay, basically this zone, and still fall down and claim the low. Because in an ABC flat, when you have a B that claims the high, most commonly the C claims A. Okay, so definitely an area to pay attention. Right, so I would say, let me just take this out the way. I would say, guys, where's it? This one, for me, it's, yeah, it doesn't carry a high probability anymore. I would actually throw this one in the bin. Okay, I don't like this one anymore. So flat it is, right? So the only bearish case scenario that we have left is the flat. Okay, I will go and spend some more time and count the structures again, but I think that's the only bearish case scenario that I see at the moment. I just want to see something else from this high to the low. Drag it across, reverse it up. No, it's the same levels, doesn't really matter. Okay, right, legends, remember to smash up that like button if you haven't done so already, for the education, for the alpha. Okay, let's just lift the mood. Let's lift the mood over here, legends. From a bullish case scenario, okay, you're looking at $121,000. Okay, at least for your third wave, 1, 2, 3, you're at least looking at $121,000. Pullback and then a fifth wave to the upside, 125. That is the bullish case scenario. This structure supports momentum to the upside. Bearish case scenario, this structure turns out to be a three-wave structure. It turns out to be a 5, 3, 5. It rejects at the 786 1-to-1 extension. Keep an eye on this little box, and bam, we fall down and we claim the low. Not something that you want to see, but you know, a good technical analyst always has a bearish and a bullish case scenario. Guys, from an investment perspective, this might not be what you want to see, okay? Or from a swing perspective, okay? But from a day trading perspective, these levels are amazing. I can short these levels. I can make lots of money with these levels. I can short, okay? I can long, okay? I'm just playing the momentum. I'm shorting, I'm longing, okay? I'm shorting, I'm longing, right? All I want is levels to give me reactions so I can get in with good risk management, protect my position. If I'm wrong, I get stopped out at break even. That's what I'm looking for from a day trading perspective. Because some people will say, oh man, right, isn't I really going to fall down again? Okay, yes, from a spot bag perspective, this is not nice. But from a day trading perspective, it's beautiful because I know exactly where to short. I know exactly where to short. I've got levels that I can keep an eye on. And I'm going to, guys, if we reject, yeah, I'm going to be in that short. Hopefully, hopefully I'm not sleeping. But I'm going to be in the short, okay? I'm definitely going to be in the short. If we reject, yeah, you will find me with an entry over here somewhere, and I'm going to start taking profits on the way down. This will be TP1, TP2, I'm out. Okay, let's go through some comments. Dear AI, dear, what my issue is, whatever I learn today, I forget it all tomorrow. You need to take notes, brother. You need to take notes. I've noticed that when I'm watching someone, because my best form of learning is visual. I'm a visual learner. I need to watch and listen, and I'm also more an audio learner. But if I really need to remember something, it needs to sink in, I like to watch, listen, and make notes, because that's like the powerful combination for information to set in. Right, yes, Mr. Crypto, Big Brains, Weeks. Okay, guys, if you haven't checked out Weeks, okay, they have you get 20% extra in your account for the money that you deposit in your features account, 20% extra to trade with, 25% discount on your trading fees, and you will be upgraded to VIP status 1. It's so cool to be a VIP, right? Okay, and then on Bluffin, this is the exchange where I've got most of my swing trades open. I also have a lot of swing trades open on BTCC. And right, which swing trades do I have open here on BTCC? Let me check. I've got a GRT small position, Moon River small position, but in profits, ICP, Doge, Litecoin, Link. That's what I've got. Swing positions open on those ones. And then on Bluffin, what do I have? I've got Bitcoin short, Litecoin, Doge, AVAX, ICP, and for some reason, I don't know how that happened. For some reason, my Link trade got closed. I don't know why my Link trade got closed. I want to show you guys here. Where's my Link? Where's Mr. Link? Order history. Okay, it doesn't want to pull up Link now at the moment. I don't know what happened, guys. I had a Link trade. Let me do this. Let me just show, because I did share it inside of the community. Altcoins. This is where I posted. Right, so this was Litecoin, this was AVAX that I'm in, Chainlink. As you guys can see, I did take the trade on Bluffin. It cashed me out, okay? I was $5,000 in profit, but I went in and I was cashed out. I didn't have a limit order, I didn't have a profit taker. It's a swing trade. I've got a good entry here. I've got an entry at $12.3, yeah, at the bottom, inside of the buy zone box. Luckily, I've got it open on BTCC as well, so I'm not sure why Bluffin. Okay, maybe I clicked the button. I could have made the mistake, but I did follow it up, right, legends? And also here on Bluffin, okay, you deposit $100, you get 15. You deposit 500, you get 75. Deposit $1,000, you get $150 extra free to trade with. You deposit $2,000, you get $300. So guys, go and take advantage of the special on Bluffin. It's only valid until the 17th of July. Okay. Right. That is basically what I wanted to share here, legends. So let's keep it simple, okay? From a simplicity perspective, where do I have... Let's take this out. From a simplicity perspective, legends, if price breaks to the upside, okay, have a line, okay, put a horizontal line at the highs. Go and take your horizontal line, take your magnet, okay, if you want to be precise, and snap it on exactly there at the highs. Okay, there we go. Whew, that took a while. Right, let me just take the brushes out. If price breaks out over here, okay, and it starts trading below this line, that's a very interesting short. Because to break an all-time high, okay, it needs to break it properly. You want to see acceleration out of it. You really want to break that properly. If it just stuffs around over here, and especially when it trades below this line after it broke out, that is a tremendous sign of weakness. Okay, so from a simplicity perspective, keep an eye on this line. If price is below, that's a potential shorting opportunity. You know where to put your stop loss and you take profits on the way down. That's the simplest way that I can explain it. Right. Cool, legends. Most bullish case scenario is still in play. So what I want to end off the live stream with is, let's go and look at this structure on the 5-minute time frame. Okay, because technical analysis is technical analysis at the end of the day, right? So for now, this looks like a, there's so many ways in which you can count this structure. It's crazy. But when I look at volume, okay, I'm trying to look at volume to give me a clue. Usually your third waves has the most amount of volume. Your fifth wave, which is your last push to the upside, has less volume than your third wave. So that's a clue. So maybe this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now this is a corrective structure for this impulse. Okay? Which maybe is now an A, B, C, which could be done in a running flat. I just want to see from a timing perspective. Does it make sense? Okay, you take your time flip from the low to the high. No, it doesn't make sense. If this is the end of the impulse in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, this low was made way before the minimum requirement. Interesting. Right, so you would expect, if this is a 5-wave structure that ended over here, and this is now a what if statement, guys, not guaranteed, you would expect the correction to last for longer, okay, to at least make a low after the 0.382. Right, so from a timing perspective, it doesn't make sense to have an A, B, C and just fly into the sky. Okay, especially if this is an impulse. If this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the correction is too short. Doesn't make sense. Right. Then there's, I see some people are saying, well, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The impulse ended over here. This is an A, B, C. Or an A, B, C that ended over here, then that makes a little bit more sense. Okay, so can you guys see, it's such a difficult structure. Okay, then the low made sense, right? The low made sense over here because it's after the 1-to-1 ratio. But there's so many ways in which you can count this structure, guys. What I can tell you is for now, it looks bullish. There's lots of volume kicking in. We're above that trend at the moment, okay, on the higher time frame. So it's it's not an easy structure. It's also, for me, it's difficult to count the end of the structure over here because it ended on a high amount of volume. Most commonly, your fifth waves ends on less volume than your third wave. So this is the clue for me. It would be very strange for the impulse to end over here on high volume, unless this is a C wave, because C waves loves to end on high volume. So if this is a C, this is a ABC, okay, in a B, now you have another C, okay, so you have an A, you have a B, now you have another C, so you have an ABC, which is a W. The X waves can be very complex, okay? A, B, C in an X, and now you're going to go up for a Y, right? And then you form that 3-wave structure, W, X, Y, here to the upside. So guys, just to keep it simple, this structure can morph into anything at the moment. The only structure that looks really nice and clean for me from a 5-wave perspective is this one. Now this one is beautiful. Beautiful 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now this is a beautiful 5-wave structure. This structure, I don't know, it can morph into anything. It does look bullish for now, but it can still morph into anything at the moment. Okay. Also very strange, and I do see that a lot of people are counting this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very strange and not common to see such a large fifth wave. First wave. It's very strange to see such a large first wave. You do get extended first waves, but it usually ends up in contracting diagonals. So something that I just want to make sure is if I take a fib and I measure this first wave, okay, I just want to see the third wave length. Okay, so the third wave is not longer than the first wave, and now I want to see, well, how long is, okay, I think it is definitely longer. I mean, guys, there's an easy way. You take a damn trend, okay, you put a trend from the low to the high, and you go and see, okay, well, the fifth wave is shorter, so it means your third wave is at least not the shortest, so the structure balances. So if this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, your third wave is not the shortest, which means theoretically the structure balances. But then you want this corrective structure to still continue because it's not time yet. So if this is the high, it's not time. This is not the low, guys. It's not the low. If this is the high of a 5-wave impulse, this is not the low. I hope that makes sense. Okay. Right, I just want to switch on some levels. Okay, we still have this untapped level. I just want to show you guys something. If I go here onto the session volume profile, wait for that to load up. Okay, now this, guys, do you remember that other session volume profile that I showed you? Now this I like way more. Okay, you have high spikes of volume compared to the rest of the volume. Now these point of controls for me are ones that I especially pay attention to, and I give them more credibility. Okay, also inside of this one, look at the high, nice volume node. That other one that I showed you for this point of control up here, it has flat volume, okay, almost like this one over here. Anyways, right, so this is a nice little point of control over here where the most amount of volume was traded. Nice little high volume node. So if you are in a short, and this is something that I spoke to the Legends Pro community, guys, if you want to join the Pro community, link is down in the description. Okay, just to quickly show everyone, Legends community, if you want to join the Legends community, where you get alpha from myself and Andy and the coaches. Okay, right, so if you are in a short, maybe you shorted the level that I shorted over here, this is a good profit taking area, because usually a good profit taking area, if you are in a short, is also a longing area. Okay, you short, you long. Now this is where you're going to start taking profits again, okay, when you start hitting resistance to the upside. Right, you leave, you know, you could always have the strategy where you leave a little bit of a moon bag open. But these are basically the levels that I'm watching at the moment, guys. I've shown you guys the theta trades and some of the trades that I'm in here at the moment. I'm not sure if anyone is interested in any altcoins for now. Okay, right, quick question, Mr. Dewald, are these free bonus applicable for accounts that don't have KYC? Yes, that's why I keep on hammering. All you need is an email and a password. I think for weeks, I think that's, yeah, it's all of them. It's all of them. I shorted earlier and I'm not sure if I should leave it open for a possible drop today. Yeah, guys, you know, where's my daily levels? Let's just switch this on back on. Okay, if you played this short, right, first thing I'm going to tell you is your position should be protected. Well, my position is protected. Okay, I can only tell you what I can do, no financial advice, right? Please ignore what I've just said. If I entered this short, I can tell you guys now that my position is protected, which means my stop loss is at my entry price. Okay, and as soon as price starts hitting support, okay, I start taking profits, and then you leave a position open for, okay, where you're supposed to close majority of your trade basically, and then you can leave a small moonbag open for lower levels because maybe it gets aggressive here to the downside, right, where I have explained that there's a chance for this 5-wave structure to be done. And now it's just going to tank. But I mean, from a level perspective, it doesn't really make sense. I've gone through that in the technical analysis. So if you are in a short over here, okay, look at the risk to reward, guys. Look at the beautiful risk to reward, regardless of support and resistances. If you nailed this short, Okay, if you nailed it, you can go and take your short tool and say, well, this is where I entered. This is where my stop loss was. Okay. And this is where price is at the moment. This is where price is at the moment. A 3.47 risk to reward is an amazing trade. For most traders, this is where they close their positions. They don't care if price is going down lower. If they can get anything over a 2 risk to reward, they close their positions. So you could look at this and say, okay, even when price was here to the downside, a 4.89 risk to reward. So if you don't know where support and resistance is, okay, you're still learning those levels, and you nailed a trade over here, and you go and plonk your shorting tool or your longing tool, and your profits is already more than a 3 or a 4 risk to reward. Why are you so greedy? Just take the damn profits, okay? For me, this is a great profit-taking area here, especially from a risk to reward perspective. Also just depends on how aggressive you were with the trade, okay? How much leverage did you apply? How much capital did you deploy? I'm usually a little bit more aggressive with swing failure patterns because the stop losses are so small. That's a 0.22% stop loss. It's tiny. It means that I can play a 100x position and not get liquidated in the position. Okay, the question is, how much capital did you deploy, right? It's always the question. I deployed 2% of my portfolio in this trade. Right, at 75x leverage. Let me just make sure. I deleted it now. I think I played 75x leverage. Okay, let's go. I'm sure, Crypto Big Brains, I know you shorted that level. Man, why do you even tell me? I know you nail these damn trades. You nail them. I'm short. 3075. I mean, yeah, what a beautiful catch. 3075. What a beautiful catch here above the high. Okay, as soon as you get acceptance back below, you nail it. You protect position. I can tell you guys now, this is what my trade looks like. I have a free trade to the downside. I already took 15% profits, if I can remember correctly. My position is protected, and if I get stopped out, okay, doesn't matter. Okay, I shorted as well. Stefan, one absolute legend. 20% profits taken. Yes, and that, you know, that's all to do with your trading strategy. Right, cool, legends. I thank you so much for joining the live stream. Remember to smash up the like button. I've unfortunately run out of time. And have yourselves a great evening. Until the next one, trade safe. Cheers for now.